Hello?
Hello.
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 Welcome. You are now here.
In the next hour, you will have the chance to become a youth landscaper.
Things work a little bit differently whilst you are here, and you'll find that they don't abide by the laws of physics and time. Our sound collage will explain the transformation in this landscape, from black to green, from carpets to treetops. It may change your perspective. Your feet will walk the timber site, but your senses will travel further, covering a 40-kilometre area known as the heart of the forest, and taking in sounds, smells, tastes and textures.
If you want to be a youth landscaper, one of the most important parts is you'll need to love Jaffa cakes.
The first stop on our long journey was Moira Furnace. Join us as we walk over to see the building and meet Nigel, the volunteer who freely gives up his time to keep the ancient historical facts alive.
Well, we're walking along a stony path by the canal. There's lots of mud and it's raining, and we can see lots of little ripples in the canal. Ahead of us we can see the furnace and the bridge with the canal boats moored at the side.
Okay, so Nigel, tell us a bit about yourself. What do you enjoy doing?
My career was in computing. I was a computer programmer. But having left all the technology behind, I now spend my time with museums and things from the past. So what attracted me to the furnace was my involvement with boats. So I've spent time maintaining the boats here and taking the boat trips.
Moira Furnace is a 19th century iron-making blast furnace for the smelting of iron from local iron ore, with an attached foundry for the manufacture of cast iron goods.
This furnace was a new design to produce large quantities of iron. Again, at the time of the building of the furnace, there were a number of wars going on, and one of the big demands for the furnace was iron to make cannonballs. For actually making iron, you need a really, really hot fire, and you need to put iron ore into it. So there was a lot of iron ore in the ground in this area. So you stick that in a really, really hot fire, and it breaks the rock down to get the temperature that high. They actually turn the coal into coke first, and they mix the coke with the iron ore, and then they blow air through it like a big bellows to make it get really, really hot. So that's air going through together with a mix of coke, iron ore and limestone would actually create an intense heat which would melt the iron out of the iron ore, and that would all drop to the bottom of the tower.
When ready, the molten iron was tapped from the bottom of the furnace and run into moulds to produce pig iron.
It was the sort of place people would come to look at and marvel at. And so the archways were actually quite colourful when they were done. It's dirty now, so it's hard to see, but if you look at the arches over the tops of the small arches, you'll see the bricks were a different colour. So it would have been quite striking appearance to the tower, and also perhaps make it look a bit like a mansion or a castle or something like that.
We are looking at where the engine house and the chimney used to be. There's a brick outlining just next to the main building. It looks like a huge rectangle, the size of a outlining of a house. Inside the bridge house, there is now a museum operated by the Moira Furnace Museum Trust. Moira Furnace was once used as an industrial place, very noisy, hot, and very destructive towards nature. But nowadays it has become more quiet and more relaxing place for people to enjoy the facts about history and enjoy the nature around it. We walked along the Ashby Canal, and we even took multiple recordings of the water in the canal.
There was a story when we were on the canal boat, someone was telling us that when they were pulled by horse, when you were going through the bridges, obviously the horses couldn't fit down the side. Yeah. So there was this man, and they walked it.
So you're right. The man would either lie on his back on the roof of the boat and put his feet on the roof of the tunnel, or they'd put a plank out the side of the boat and lie sideways on the plank and walk along the walls and push the boat through that way. The people that did that for a job were called leggers.
Time for us to go to the next location. We will be taking the canal there.